It's my pleasure to introduce today's guest, Deputy Chief Catherine Cummings of Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. Chief Cummings has served the residents of Indianapolis for 22 years. In that time, she's held many assignments within different areas of IMPD. During her tenure, Deputy Chief Cummings has assumed numerous roles. She worked as a uniformed officer, investigated homicides as a detective in the homicide unit, filled the role of departmental spokesperson, supervised young officers on the middle shift of East District, developed the behavioral health unit, mobile crisis assistance team or MCAP programs, became the first woman appointed to major of the investigations division, and most recently served as a commander for the IMPD Training Bureau. She believes in a collaborative and holistic approach to public safety and champions an approach that involves the expertise of community members, service providers, and those working within the criminal justice system. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today, Chief Cummings.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. That's a great question. And that's a question that has many answers, almost as many answers as there are women in the industry, right? So while I was in college, I have my undergraduate degree is in journalism and speech communications, which may not seem like it fits with someone who ends up being in law enforcement, but I assure you that it does. The way that I really got started in law enforcement was I wanted a challenging job that would excite me every day and expose me to everything that we have in our world and in our country, and also give me the opportunity to help everyone else along the way, to contribute to my community. And that's how I ended up here. I think women, not just in law enforcement, but I think women as a whole contribute to society more than we're given credit for. Mm-hmm. And so I do think that when it comes to law enforcement, I do think that women bring a unique perspective to the field than, say, someone who identifies as a man. We've had different experiences that have brought us here, whether that is in school, whether that is in children. We've had different experiences in the world and in the community, and that shapes and forms how we view things as officers, and then how we ultimately carry out our work as police officers within the community. We've had to do things and see things and plan for things and operate in ways as we've grown up in school and in the community that men necessarily haven't had to. And so that gives us a rich perspective from which to pull as we're working with our fellow citizens in the community. And I think it gives us a unique opportunity. I think that women are very capable communicators. And this kind of takes me back to when I spoke about my undergraduate degree and that it is actually related to law enforcement. I think one of the most important things that we do every single day as law enforcement officers, regardless of our assignment, is communicate with people. Whether that's government officials or little kids on the street, or people who've called 911 because they need help, or just somebody who stops us walking down the sidewalk. That's the most important thing that we do every single day, is communicate. Mm-hmm. And I think that women bring a great perspective with communication style and empathy and compassion that we share, and that translates to how we do the job. So I do think as we look forward and we reimagine law enforcement within our country, I think women have a vital role to play in that reimagination of policing as we move forward. My challenges have evolved and changed as my roles, and especially as my rank has evolved and changed throughout my career. Mm-hmm. I think that when I came on nearly 23 years ago now, I think I mostly was concerned about and had the realization that I was going to have to establish myself and prove myself. That's really how I looked at it. Was I needed to get in here. I needed to prove that I had the academic ability, the physical ability to do this job, the cognitive ability to do this job. I could run, I could shoot, I could drive, I could do all of those things that we were trained to do. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that as I got here and I was proven and I established myself, that things would start to settle down a little bit, and maybe I would need to do that less. But, I was naive. I think that as you grow and as you change, and especially as a woman, as you evolve and move throughout the ranks, expectations change. Kind of going back to what I said earlier, we're more compassionate, we're more empathetic. We may be more comfortable with being vulnerable, and that vulnerability doesn't equal weakness, it equals authenticity. And so I think that showing people you can still be a strong and capable leader, but with compassion and empathy and vulnerability and authenticity, those do not negate the strength that we still believe that a leader needs. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges I've faced, especially as I've gone up, is balancing the traditional thought of leadership with my skill set, and quite frankly, the skill sets of women for being leaders. I do think a lot of it goes back to, we mentioned socialization, and goes back to how we are socializing people as they grow up and as they come up. What people see, you have to see it to believe it, to become it. And we don't have a lot of, we're getting better, but we don't have a large representation across the country for women in leadership roles. And I think one of the first and most visible steps just has to be promoting women and showing them people doing the job. Having opportunities for women who want to be in law enforcement or women who want to get promoted, giving them the opportunities such as things like this, where they can sit and they can interact with people who've walked the path. They can get the true answer. They can get the real answer. It's an intimidating job to start. And if you didn't grow up with family members in law enforcement, which I did not, or exposure to law enforcement outside of TV and movies, it's intimidating and you don't know what to expect. So we just need to do a better job of encouraging women, making sure they know they're welcome here, making sure they absolutely know they have a place in this job, that they can do this job, and that they are needed in this job. So in the beginning, I didn't. So there was a very long time in the beginning of my career when I didn't have any women I could really look to or talk to. And I think that's detrimental. And I don't think I realized it at the time, but I think there's great benefit in having mentors who are women. They can help you navigate the challenges that are unique to being a woman. I do now have a female mentor, and she and I have worked together. She's someone I can go to. Incidentally, she is the other female deputy chief on the department, on the agency. So it is a great honor for me to be able to work in this position at this rank right alongside my mentor. I've worked for her and with her. I was her executive officer. I've learned a lot from her. But she and I are very different. When we don't have as many women at the higher ranks, we don't have as many women with seats at the tables in those closed door meetings who can bring up fellow women and highlight their abilities and their skills. So those are all things that we need to be able to do, that we have to do. And I was fortunate that in about 2014, there was a high-ranking woman on the department who saw my abilities and has been there ever since. It's important to remain true to yourself. You need to be who you are. You are competent, you are capable, you can do this job just the same as the man standing next to you. You need to know that, but also you need to be your own advocate. And it's okay to have ambition. It's okay to have goals. It is okay to want to be a leader as a woman. That is all okay. And then it's okay to still be a woman, and whatever that means for your personality, that is okay too. And I think I've seen a lot of courage in our young women. But we still need to be doing a better job of reminding them and telling them that they are worthy, they are capable, they are competent. You do have good ideas. Speak up. Speak up, show up, stand up, volunteer, raise your hand, do all of those things. You're going to be told no, not everything is going to work out, but that is okay. That sometimes there is as much to learn from failure as there is from success. So don't be afraid to take that risk. Take the risk, raise your hand, volunteer, learn everything that you can do, ask questions, set a goal and go for it. And I think that it's important for them to know this, all within the message also that, but you are still yourself, and it is still okay to be yourself, and you don't have to change who you are to be good at your job, or to be good at this job, or to be accepted. Stay true to yourself. You're the one who has to look at yourself in the mirror, and don't ever compromise your integrity and your expectations and your beliefs for someone else. That doesn't mean it's always going to be easy, but the struggle will be worth it, and there is benefit in the struggle. And I think that that's what I would tell them. There's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, but there's going to be days. And so take advantage of every single one of those days and do everything that you can do to the best of your ability and go for those goals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's clear from the numbers, from the data, this is still a male-dominated role, a male-dominated profession. And it is important and it is vital that the men in the leadership roles and the men on the agencies, that they do their part to be an ally. That just because you're an ally doesn't mean that you need to speak up for the woman who's standing next to you. That's not what being an ally means. She's capable of speaking for herself. But when you are in that room with just men and comments are made or beliefs are held, it is an ally is someone who will stand up against, in this case, his cohort to say, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. She is qualified. She is capable. She is competent. Or they are valued. They are part of the team. An ally is someone who hears the microaggressions and corrects people, doesn't just go along with the joke and the discussion, but stands up and corrects people. That's what an ally does. An ally allows the woman to fight her own battles, but you stand up and you fight them when she's not around. And so it's important to understand that women don't need to come in and be men in different clothes. That's not what we are. We need to come in and we need to be given the room to be ourselves, to make our contributions. And we need the men on the agencies to be allies, to, as I just said, speak up when we're not around. Fight that battle that we're not there to fight. Mentor women, encourage women. That is the role. That is the role. Make the change in the culture that needs to happen to be more inclusive and to invite more women to the table.